So in the last video, we understood why do we need a custom adapter. So again, for an overview, a simple list adapter will have a simple list consisting of a single row made up of just a simple string. Okay. But let's say in scenarios where you want a single row to have multiple elements like an image and then let's say a text view, or let's say you want to show two different text views in a single row, you cannot use a simple list adapter in such scenarios. So what we do is we create a custom list view adapter wherein before creating the adapter class, we need to create a row template. Okay. So now in this video, what we will do is for each row, first we will create a row template where we will have two text views. The first text view displaying username and the second text view displaying the user password. Okay, let's get started. So let's start by first creating a model. In our case, we are modeling a user. So we create a class named user. Models are nothing but POJO objects where it is used as a simple data store. So let's create two variables called username and password. Generate a constructor. And then let's generate getters and setters. For username and password. So when you create an object of type user, it doesn't do much. It just stores two values, that is username and password. Okay. And it simply has these functions: a getter to get the username, to get the password, and setters for setting the username and setting the password. Okay, so we start by creating a model. Now, according to what we discussed, we need a layout or a template for each row. Okay, so in this case, let's create a layout resource file. I am naming it user row layout. My preference is usually to use linear layout, so I will be using linear layout. Now let's make the root layout's height wrap content, and then let's add two text view. Let's add some attributes to decorate. Let's set text size to be 20 dp. Also, let's add padding. What vertical padding means is you will add some space above and below the text. Okay, inside the text view, not outside. So when you add space outside the text view, it's called margin. And when you add space inside the text view above and below or to the side of text, it's called padding. So padding vertical, let's set it to 10 dp. Let's create one more text view. Also, the naming convention for the IDs is not good. To identify that it is a part of row layout, let's add an underscore row layout. Now, as you can see, this doesn't look good. Okay, so it is always better to first add some orientation. Let's keep it horizontal because we want it in a line. Then what we need to do is we need to provide equal space for username and for password. Okay, so if we do layout width match parent, then you can see username takes the entire space and it pushes password somewhere else. Okay, let's make it match parent for this too. Now you see, so what we will do is make the width 0 dp for both, and then we will use an attribute called layout weight. So we assign weight as 1 and we assign weight as 1 for both, which means now the space divided among them for the row is equal. Okay, so usually, so now let's say if you add one more text view, you see that the space is divided equally. Okay, also for a better look, we will add gravity as center so that text is in the center of the text view. Okay, so we are satisfied with the look of a single row that we want. So this will be a template for each row. Now we will create an adapter, a custom adapter. Let's name it user custom adapter. Now to make this class an adapter class, we need to extend the base adapter, which is a parent class to all the adapters that you would see for different kinds of list related widgets like grid view, or let's say a list view or a recycler view. Okay, so now you see that we are getting an error. Hover your cursor over the error and click on implement methods. Select all and click OK. These functions which are required for an adapter are automatically inserted for you. Now let's make some changes. What we want to do, if you remember from the previous video, is that we accept an array list when we are creating an object of type adapter. Okay, so first we need an array list. In our case, this array list will be of type user. Now we will create a custom adapter and we will accept an array list of type user. Okay, so this users is same as this one and this users is same as this one. Okay, so we initialize the users. Now we modify these functions according to this array list. So get count, instead of returning 0, what we will do is we will return the size of the array list. In get item, you can keep this as object and then you will need to typecast when you retrieve an object, or what we can do is define the type of object that we need. In this case, our array list is of type user, so we will return an object of type user and then return the object using the position variable provided automatically into this function. Okay, so we simply get a user object from the user's array list at this position. Now this implementation can vary. If you have an ID, you can return the ID, but in this case what I will do is return the position as an ID. Now to create an optimized custom adapter, we will be using a view holder pattern. So for that, we will create a class called view holder. Now this view holder is actually a holder, temporary placeholder for a row. Okay, so in our case, what we have done is in our row layout, we have two text views. So we create this as a placeholder. So let's add two text views. TV stands for text view. We will accept a view. I will shortly show you what does it mean, and we will initialize these placeholder variables. We will try to find, so what we are actually gonna do is we will create a variable of view holder inside get view. Convert view is actually the row that you see in the list view. Okay, so we will be passing an object of convert view over here. Okay, so convert view is actually the row. So we are trying to find the username and the password text views that we created in the row layout. Okay, so we are finding, just try to understand that we will be using this row layout as a row for the list view. Okay, so we want to pass that into the view holder, and we also want it to be the row in the list view. Okay, so convert view, we will pass the object of convert view in the view holder constructor, and then we will find it using find view by ID. So let's create a variable of view holder. Now we will first check whether the row in the list view is present or not. So we will check whether it is null. So if the row is null, then what we will do is first initialize the convert view. So what we want this row to be? We want this row to be created from this row template, right? So we will inflate this layout. Okay, so we use layout inflator from the parent. We get context, which is required to get the layout inflator, and then we do inflate. What we need to inflate is r.layout.user row layout, and we don't want to attach it to the root, so we type null. Now we have inflated this row inside the convert view. Now we need to create an association between this and the view holder. So we will initialize view holder. So you see, we inflated the row layout into the convert view. We pass it into the view holder, and inside view holder we find each text view. Okay, so this text view is inside the view. In this case, this view is convert view, which is nothing but inflated row layout template. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to give this convert view the memory of this view holder. Okay, so whenever it is created, we don't want to reinitialize it every time when this activity is created. So what we do is convert view dot set tag. Basically it is giving the convert view the memory of this view holder. Okay, now This was the first scenario when your row is null. That is, it doesn't have any memory of view holder or the row layout template. Okay. But the another case is that it does have the memory. So what we will do is we will initialize the view holder by getting it from the memory of convert view. Okay. Now once this is done, we will proceed with the functionalities that we want to provide. That is in this case just to assign simple strings to text views. So now once we are done initializing the view holder, what we want to do is proceed with our operation, which is just to assign the string, to the text views. So we will first retrieve the user object. And then return our convert view, which is our row. Okay, so our custom adapter looks good. Now for the main activity, let's add a list view. Declare the variables. Create an array list of type user. This time it's not string. Like last time, let's create a generate function. Let's create a new user object over here. Let's create a new user object over here. Now what we need to do is simply initialize the list view. Create a custom adapter object. Pass the list of users, and then set the adapter to list view. So let's try running our application. Okay, so running it gives me an error on get count, tells me that array list.size on a null object. Okay, so I got an error. That is because we forgot to initialize the users array list by calling our generate users function, which I have named get users. It was supposed to be generate users. So let's go ahead and make that change first. Okay, so now we are good to go. So the first step is to initialize the list view, create the array list, add it to the custom adapter, and set the adapter to the list view. So there we go.